Dalet, right?
Yep.
The Yetzer Hara. You know the song?
How does it go?
Yetzer Hara is a friend of mine. We get together and we dine. Then we have a glass of wine, 'cause the Yetzer Hara is a friend of mine. That's a Yossi Markel original. Lahavin, is it on?
Yeah, it's on.
Okay, Nindal, Lahavin derech prat, Yisasu zezelu mazeh, Hulu be'ez spheres the klipa dabiyah. So now we're talking about a whole new 10 spheres. As the spheres the klipas. In the yesh lahavin b'shoyves finas ha-klipa. Mahu. Hine yadua b'tam shem klipa, kmo klipas ha-peri, shehu ha-pseilich v'kol dover, sheba mitzat ha-rebu es-toy v'rachul, u'misiba spheres ha-kelim hulu. Zayin melochem shemesu v'naflu l'mata hulu. O klipa kadma la-peri, kmo b'smicha sol tri, sha-klipa tisma techila, ukmo ha-shalya l'vlat. Shuba min ha-pseilich b'kipa hulu, like the placenta. And basically, that's why, this tells us something about that all of these Kabbalists, they are basically our klipa, And the thing of the klipa is that the klipa actually, from what he's saying here, the klipa has a good purpose. That
protects the fruit.
It protects the fruit, and the shalya actually grows the baby.
Right.
Not only grows it, but the shalya is what gives the baby the nourishment.
Right.
The nourishment goes from the mother to the shalya, and what goes from the mother to the shalya is basically the impure blood. It's a dam nida.
Right.
That's what it is. That blood that goes to the baby, that's the dam nida. What would have been otherwise one of the most impure things. And then the shalya itself is what gives nourishment to the baby.
Right.
And that's basically what's happening with us is that, what, do you have a dog over there?
The neighbors have a dog.
That like what we talked about a few days ago was with the thing that the Rebbe told me in the letters and stuff like that. That not only these people are not stealing from us, they are bringing us. They're going to bring us our nourishment. They're going to grow us. They're going to grow us like the shalya is what grows the baby.
Right.
So they're going to grow us, and the klipa is what grows the peri. Cool. The shoyers advorim yadua degam beptinos ataynu yesh pilas amenagdel asu atzar hefech ha'einig v'hu nega hefech oisis einig u'pesha hefech oisis shefach hulu. He called over ma sheba beptinos itpashis min ha'etzem vada yesh koyach amenagdel sheba gamkin ma'etzem al ken gam beptinos itpashis oira ataynu v'arotzen יש כוח היפוכו ימנגדוי שהוא דרך משהו כאשר ימנו לאותו תיינוג או שיהיה הדובר המנגד הפך העינג הוא שנקוצר ויסורים כולו. It's the same power actually.
Right.
Like we learned before. became ממילא בחוכמה וטעם לתיינוג ורוצן יש המנגד ויש טעם למנגד לרוצן וכן המידוי, מחשב הדיבור מייסה חולו. וכמו עבד, העבר ומנגד לרוצן האדון, הרי בכל פרוטי הדבורים שברוצן זה מנגד חולו. In every single prat is menagid. So that's one of the things. Where did I read it? I think it's from the Rebbe. It said, it was from the Rebbe. It was some letter from the Rebbe. It said, just look at what your enemies want. If they want it, there's something wrong with it.
Right.
You know. if they want that, there's something wrong with it. Because why? It's like it says, if he's menaged in all the pratim.
Right.
So you look what he wants, you know that it's a problem with it. And basically, the Israelis should realize, if they would realize that about Arafat, that any prat, whatever it is that he wants, if he wants to make peace, there's something wrong with it. If he wants to give you a present, there's something wrong with it. Like the Trojans found out, So, the thing is, by the Ummah there, it doesn't matter what it is or how nice it looks. And this is basically like what we were talking about here, that like these, the Menagid comes to them with a svara. Like he says, he has a svara. It's a seichel, right?
Right.
That's what he just said. He comes in with a svara. That what? So let's come up and tell these people that really Torah agrees with science, so it doesn't sound so stupid to them.
Like that, start keeping Shabbos and mitzvahs and stuff like that.
That way, we'll slowly get them. And really, if you look, it's mamish, that's what he's telling you. We'll slowly get them. Really, he's going to slowly get you.
Right. That's the real intent.
That's the real intent. You look what he's saying, you see what he's going to do. He's telling you exactly the whole plan. The plan is to sneak in with a little white lie. That's the plan, right?
Right.
Sneak in with a little white lie, and then we'll slowly get them. That's his plan. He told you his plan. Mamish told you his plan.
Right.
That's the whole seichel. So he's going to sneak into you this thing, so you'll be made on a little thing that's, after all, it's not evil. And really, actually, it's a heresy.
Right.
It's worse than Avodah Zarah. Avodah Zarah, you can do tshuva on easier than a heresy.
Right.
And a heretic is, look what the Rambam says about heretic. A heretic is acher. By Avodah Zarah, it said like Menashe, that he did all the Avodah Zarahs and stuff like that, but then he did tshuva.
Right.
But Acher, there was a voice that said, everybody can do tshuva except for Acher.
Right.
And even like you see that, like for instance, all of these people like Achav and people like that, even they didn't do tshuva, but the Eibusher still sent prophets to them to exhort them to do tshuva. That means if the Eibusher is sending a prophet, means the gates of tshuva were open to them. They just had to do it.
Right.
By Acher, it says that they were closed. It says he could have done tshuva. It says nothing stands in the way of tshuva. But
the gates were closed.
But the gates were closed.
Right.
So this is the svara from the Menagid. And the thing is, this is the worst kind of thing. It's not like the like he's going to say later, the midas machshava dibra ma'aseh. It's not a midah. There's a midah like ta'as and stuff like that. This is a cold svara. This is Chabad of Klipa.
Right.
And it's like the Rebbe says in Tanya, even though it looks very nothing, it's matami your brain.
Right.
Not only that, it's matami it with a thing that you don't even realize, don't realize that it's evil.
Right.
And it's matami your whole brain. It's manish a kfira and the whole thing of how the Eibusher created the world.
Right.
It's a kfira in Hashgacha Pratis, it's a kfira in the specific creation of Adam. It's a kfira in the Sefer Sipur V'Sefer. In other words, it's not a movie. It's a whole thing that existed before the movie. Not that it's a set that started in the middle.
It's a total kfira. The whole thing is
a total kfira. It's a total pure, but it's dressed up in Levushim Rabim. You know, like the Abish is dressed up in Levushim Rabim, the Yetzer Hara can also come to you dressed up in Levushim Rabim. And this is Dafka a Seichel thing, you know, and not only that, he comes to you and says, nah, and this is, I mean, after all, science, you know, how could science be wrong?
Right.
And not only that, it says, and it's not that I'm telling you that Torah is wrong and science is right. I'm just showing you how Torah really says like science. And then they come up, I don't know if you read some of these things, they come up with lies. Like the Ramban said such a thing or something like that, or Yitzchak of Akko or the Ramban, or they quote like these things that they quoted something from
Rashi.
Yonasan, not what's
They even quote
I saw on the H site.
Yonasan Ben Uziel.
I even saw on they misquote a Rashi.
All kinds of things like that. They quote these things as if, and it's a thing we know that Rashi, what's the quote Rashi? We know that Rashi says 7 days. 7 days is 7 days. Rashi never said such a thing. You know. And the thing, it comes with a Chochmah and Ta'am.
Right.
Yes, I'm a nagid. Leo Tam le nagid le rotzet. They can amidus machov dibur ma'aseh fulu. Mo eved ha'eved nagid le rotzet na adon. Are the kol prati advorim sheberotzet zeh nagid fulu. וכך את זה הוא מצא שחולו שיהיה פינס מנגד והוא הנקרא פסוילס וקליפה והסתר שקודם תחילה חולו. But this thing from our side we say, hey, that's a good thing. We can say it's a good thing. So this thing that all of this is happening, for them it's a kfira. For us it becomes that it's mamish, that's the plan.
Right.
The plan of the Yetzer Hara, what he told them, that he's going to use this thing to pull in people. For them, it's the Yetzer Hara. For us, he's mamish bringing us the people. So the Shilia that was paid them to the, and the whole thing, like Kabbalah Center with this Kabbalah. Basically, what they're going to do is they're going to bring in people, and the people are going to look at it and say, wait a minute, there's something wrong here. And basically, actually, you know, it's going to be that it's actually the Yetzer Hara is going to come to us, because basically, you know, there's a thing that the Chassidus that we teach is made up to addict the Yetzer Hara.
Right.
Not
the Nefesh HaBahamis.
Nefesh HaBahamis.
Right.
And it's the worst addiction there is. It's worse than all the stuff the Yetzer Hara has to addict the people. We have a thing. It says that the Eibishter created the Yetzer Hara and he created a tavlin for it.
Right.
What's the tavlin? The Yetzer Hara has the drug to addict everybody else, and we have the drug to addict him.
Right.
So he's mamish going to, you know, and you see that's who's coming to us. The witches, the warlocks, the vampires, the Meshuggahs, all the crazy people. Sooner or later they're going to end up by us. Why? Because by us it's like a shilya. It's a klippa.
Right.
Hold on.
And that's what it says.
Hold on a second. Let me flip the tape.
The klippa v'hesher shekodem tila chulu. V'hu al yidei p'chinat ha-tzimtzum v'hesher shekodem kol or b'shefa ha-rotzim v'tayim v'chochma chulu, and that's the proper order. That's our order. We're from David's people. What is our order? It says, the Reisha HaShocha.
Right.
More
Adon Hora.
Yeah, כמו מי יודע עוז אפיך, ירשך אברסך. הולו. שהוא פינס המנגד לרצון. שם מתוכן הכעס וחורן אף, על פינס המנגד לעבר הרצון הולו. עד שחמס השם על ראש ושם יחולחולו. כמו שלא למוקם אחר בעניין ברשך השופה, all can. What is this?
Nazay umaso olam masage bereisha.
Oh, right. Azay umasoila maske bereisha. The strong people of the nations were big first before the Jews were big.
Right.
And that's also the thing, that first was first the Malachim of Esav, and then the Malachim of Israel. So by us, dafka the opposite. All it is Bilbo, it's just exactly the opposite. It means, yeah, there's a big symptom up there, and this Cheshach is because our light is going to come. והנה ידוע דעיקר הסבירה בתראה וסוי ורע ממש, היה רע בפינת צד. שהוא בפינת, here it says, Zamech Zayin Samech, it should be Zayin Tov, I think.
Zayin Tachtonach,
Zayin Tachton is Sabina, yeah. It's a type of, what did it say over there? Tov?
It's a Taf.
It's a top, right. Okay. So Pinan Zayin Tachton is Sabina. Then Pinan Samida Shebeseichel. Samalida is Samida Shebaled Midas Ryan. Small Kas or Tzicha B'Taiva Ra'a Baba V'Yira Ra'im and it Tzaitis V'Nitzuach V'Tparus L'Rachulu Al B'Chochma Lo Yasvira Brak Chitzonius Da'avod Naflu Uhu Yisraelish L'Chochma Chitzonius. And this is something that we basically discussed earlier, that even in Bina, basically what this is, the actual original Bina Shababina is the analysis, right?
Right.
And the Midos is what's called the Bechain. Therefore.
Right.
So, if you look at any kind of klippa, you see that the analysis is correct.
Right.
Like, for instance, like right now, one of the big klippas that really, everybody's making a big to-do about homosexuals. There's a much worse thing than that, which is abortion.
Right.
Sure,
that's even worse.
It's a much worse thing. And right now, this thing of abortion is on the what do you call it? On the amount level, the kamus is the echus and the kamus.
Right.
Of a Holocaust.
Sure.
There's literally a Holocaust going on.
Right.
A secret Holocaust.
It's not such a secret.
Okay, but it's a secret.
People ignore it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's on the proportions of a Holocaust and might be even bigger. Who knows? Nobody even knows. What was the Holocaust? 6 million, and if you count the whole, it was something like 18 million people. And if you include what Stalin did, is maybe 40 million.
Right.
I think that if you count the abortions for the last, we're talking about 40 years at least, no? I think it's in the hundreds of millions worldwide.
Right.
I think it's in the hundreds of millions. And yet, Where's the Sphira? The Sphira is not in the original Bina Shabbat in the analysis. Like in the analysis, there's an analysis. Some of the things that are used in the analysis is there's a lot of people in the world.
Right.
Well, that's true. I agree with that. You agree with that?
Yeah, there's a lot of people
There's a lot of people in the world, so the Bechain is, by me, 10 Yirbu. That's what the Eibusher wants. The Eibusher wants not only Jewish people to increase, the Eibusher wants Yeshiva Eilam, and he'll figure out.
Yeah, Pruah Milota Aretz.
Pruah Milota Aretz, the Eibusher likes people. Like yesterday, like we were saying yesterday, the Eibusher likes the world, and he likes people. Even though it's nothing, but now that you have it, so that he likes it.
Right.
They're not the total intrinsic reason, but even for the intrinsic reason, he likes people, he likes children.
Right.
And there's lots of, it's true there's lots of people. Or they say that, for instance, there's a lot of people going hungry.
Right.
Is that true? Yeah, it's true. So what's the Bechain? The Bechain is let's try to figure out a way so that if one country has food, another country doesn't, to figure out to feed the people instead of worrying about... Give tzedakah.
It really is more of a distribution problem than...
Yeah.
Not
only that. Let's figure out how to plant the Sahara Desert. Look what they did with Israel.
Right. Right.
I mean, there's other Bechains that can come out. The analysis is correct. And there's various other analyses. I mean, we don't have to go into it. There's all kinds of analyses that go in, like that there's a lot of children that don't get the proper education. So, oh, good, so let's kill them.
Right.
As well, a lot of these children, they'll just end up growing up in bad situations with starvation and improper education. Oh, good, so let's kill them. That's a good Bechain.
Right.
Hey, I got a solution. Let's kill everybody.
Right.
We'll solve all the world's problems. And then the butterflies won't have to worry.
Right.
You know the butterflies?
Sure.
The butterflies, there's a problem with the ecology.
Right.
Not only that, if with all these people, soon they're going to use up all the sunlight.
Right.
I mean, look what they're doing. The people going to the beach, they're using up all the sunlight. Soon there won't be no sunlight left.
That's a pretty big problem.
A big problem, There'll be no sunlight left. What are the trees going to do? So if we kill everybody, kill all the people, then there'll be more room for the butterflies and for the bunny rabbits,
Right.
And for the balance of nature and all that business.
We won't be destroying their habitat.
And the sun will live 10 billion years longer.
There won't be mankind to destroy the habitat of...
global warming, with global warming, soon the water level will rise up. Who knows what's going to happen?
Right.
So the thing is that the basic point here is that you see that the Shvira is not in the actual analysis, in the facts. It's in the Bechain.
Right.
It's in the solution that you came up with.
Right.
And the basic thing, like he says, so first he said it's only in Sag, but then he said it's in Chitzonius Avah. So really, it's Nageya even in Pnimius. There is a Nageya. In other words, if there was not a problem with their Hanocha somehow,
right,
the Bechain wouldn't come out wrong.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure.
The problem is that there really is, but it's not in the real Hanocha, it's in the Chitzonius of the Hanocha.
Right.
basic thing is the reason that there's a problem with their Hitbonenut, because you say, wait a minute, how could the Bechein come out wrong if the Hitbonenut was right?
Right.
If the Hanocha is right and the Hitbonenut is right, then how could the Bechein come out wrong?
Right.
And they said the reason it came out wrong is exactly because of that, because it was the Chitzonius. Like we learned back there in, what was it, 25, 26?
26. It's not the Pneumius.
There's 3 chapters, basically.
24, 25, and 26.
Right. One, it says that the Mazolis. The next one is how it comes down in Avor. And the next one is the Moichin of Zoh. If one of them is not the Pneumius, the next level will also be not the Pneumius. What's the problem? The problem is they're thinking externally. They're not really thinking internally.
Right.
They're not connecting it up to the Eibishter.
No, even without connecting it up to the Eibishter, they're not even thinking properly according to the 18 of Torah.
Right, exactly.
The 18 of Torah means it's not from the Eibishter, but it's solid Bina Shabina. That's why he doesn't die. What does it mean? If you would really sit and think properly, you could come up with a better Bechein. You see, these people are not really thinking, they're not really sitting and thinking about it with a real Hitbonenut. And they come up with a fast Bechein, and then they go to, and then they basically, a lot of these people, once somebody comes up with a Bechein, they don't even know who came up with a Bechein. Most of these people are just going on a chasmal.
Right.
And they don't know who came up with a Bechein. You know who came up with a Bechein?
For which thing? Abortion?
For everything.
Our good friend, the Yetzer Hara.
Our good buddy, the Yetzer Hara.
Right.
But basically, really, that's who came up with it. Most of these people, they don't think who came up with this seichel, and they go and run with the seichel like as if it's a real seichel, and it's not really a seichel at all. And like he's going to explain, it's not really a chokhmah, it's a amumit.
Right.
Shemalidin amidish shebalev midas raim mokas l'tzicha. So the breaking is Taivarah, the Abba V'yir Aroim, and the Tzuach V'yitfaibus L'rachulu. Abba B'chochma Lo Hayashvira, Rak Hitonius Davo Naflu. Why? Because it was Hitonius. V'hu Shayris L'chochma Hitonius. V'gam hu inyin ani chochma, Shenosi Arma. Arami Oived Avi. The Arami is Ramai.
Right.
And this is the thing, like we were talking before. They made there's a Ramia.
What's Ramia?
It's
A Ramai.
Oh, Khan.
Ramai means to cheat.
Oh, right, like Lavan was a Khan.
Lavan. It was a Ramai. They cheated. Arami Oived Avi, Chochma. Avi means Chochma. The Ramia is what?
Well, Avi is talking about Chochma de Kedusha.
Yeah, right. Arami is the Chochma de Klipa. Oived makes lost.
Right.
The Avi, my father, my proper father. And he makes a bilbul in people's heads. He's making a bilbul, but it's really a cheating. That's not really what there's not a single gadol that said that.
Right.
And if you look even what they say, they're basing it all on some scientist, Schroeder. And then they're making like, oh, and see, this fits right into what the Rambam said. So, yeah, but the Rambam didn't say that.
Right.
The Rambam, if you would ask Rambam, he would say, no, it was 7 days. If you would ask Rashi would say, no, it was 7 days, Kipshutli.
Right.
And if you would ask them, and what about, did the Adam come from a monkey? He said, no. It was a specific creation.
That's Pashat and Torah.
Huh?
It's Pashat and Torah that's what it is.
Yeah, not only that. The thing on Darwinism, there's, if you look in the, that's also in the email I sent, is the thing what it says, what is his name, Goldberg? Yodel, I don't know, Yodel Greenberg? Or
Rosenberg.
Yodel whatever, who translated it. He translated the Hebrew, what do you call it, the Hebrew Zohar.
Rosenberg.
Yeah, and he says basically that according to the Zohar, it wasn't evolution, it was devolution.
Right, exactly.
That the apes came from people.
Right.
Apes were devolved, apparently there's 2 points. There was a devolution by Cain, and I think there was another devolution by the people from the Tower of Babel.
Right.
I'm not exactly sure, but I know by Cain.
He writes over there that maybe this is where Darwin Amashuga got his ideas from.
Right.
That's what he says.
Right. Right. And basically, he is from the school of the real Kabbalah, and he gives the real Indian what Kabbalah and Torah. Not only that, not just a Kabbalist, he was a real Ben Torah. And he has haskamas from every single gadol in Europe.
Right, including the Rebbe Rashab?
The Rebbe Rashab, the Rebbe Rashab, of course, including the Rebbe Rashab. That's. I mean, we hold big on the Rebbe Rashab.
As a rule, we're not big on giving haskamas, you know.
Right. Now, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking like a lot of these things. I mean, the Rebbe Rashab, for Lubavitch, we don't need to go from Yudel Rosenberg. We have the letters from the Rebbe.
Right.
Straight. The Rebbe says this is a heresy.
Yeah, obviously.
Okay, but this was haskamas. He had haskamas from Chaim Berlin. From everybody. Right. All the way to Chaim Berlin.
Right.
You know. The Mishnah Kesef, I don't remember who else. A whole bunch. Every single gadol from Europe, practically, gave that summer for that thing. So, where do you get this thing that the Gedolim the Gedolim said such a thing? Or this business, like they come up with this business, like from Yitzchak of Akko. First of all, who ever heard of Yitzchak of Akko? They dug up Yitzchak of Akko.
He's not a significant person.
Whoever was significant, whoever heard of him. Secondly, actually, Yitzchak of Akko happens to be a real Kabbalist, by the way.
I didn't say he's not.
He was a real true big Kabbalist, but then there's the Isur from Chaim Vital. It said that this came from the
name of the Arizal.
The name of the Arizal, and you're not allowed to learn to study anybody after the Ramban, and Yitzchak of Akko was the Talmud of the Ramban.
Right.
And the reasons is 2 reasons. Some of them didn't know what they're talking about, and the other ones you're not going to know what they're talking about.
So what he says there is they didn't have Ruach HaKodesh at that time, so it's speculation.
Might be speculation, but the basic thing, I don't think Yitzchak of Akko is not a speculation thing. It's just that his stuff is very mystical, and it's very hard to understand. If you know Kabbalah, you look at his calculations, you see right away what he's talking about.
Right.
You know, there's nothing wrong with it really, but it's the way that they translated it.
Right.
So, the basic thing is that these people are making up stories, and it's a Ramos. The Ramos is they stick in as if this is somehow Torah opinion, and they bring up various quotes. You know.
Yeah.
And you can see Mamish the Ramos. There's a thing. I don't know if did you ever see the thing about, there's some rabbi that wrote about, he's one of these YU-type rabbis. He wrote a whole thing against what the Rebbe said about Kfiyah by the Goyim. To be Kaifa.
Right.
And he brings up various opinions, and you look at the opinions, like you said, one opinion says that in our days you can't kill a goy. And the Rambam never said you could. To kill a goy, you have to have a basin that can kill.
Right.
And
That's
then
not
he
what
said,
means kfiyah.
that's not against fear.
That's not what means kfiyah.
No, that's not what means fear.
That's
Then
what I'm
there's
saying.
another one
That's
that
not what
says that
means kfiyah.
even, another one that brings up, I don't remember if it's a Ramah or something like that, it said even by the Sanhedrin, where you actually had the power to kill a goy, you couldn't kill him until the sentence was passed.
Right.
In other words, you couldn't just go and kill him. You had to take him to basin.
Sure.
How does that disprove what the Rebbe said? And the basic thing, like he said, the Rebbe assumes certain things, and basically, the thing is, you see that he totally doesn't understand what he's talking about. Because both the Rebbe, and if you look in the Rambam says that this is a thing that Moshe told us mipi hagvura. If you notice, not everything Rambam says like that.
Right.
And if you look in the Rebbe's book also, the Rebbe says that this is a thing that Moshe told us mipi hagvura.
Right.
That you're supposed to be koifer the goyim. When they say something like that, it means it's a halacha of Moshe Misinai.
That's what it means. Sure. Of course.
If the Rambam says that, he doesn't say that on everything. Certain things
Right.
he says, this is not even a din Torah, it's mitzvah abundance. Like right now we're learning Yeruvin. Yeruvin, he says, it's not a mitzvah from Torah at all.
Right.
Mitzvah abundance. So from the Torah, you're really allowed to carry in the whole city.
Right.
And if it's a city that has a wall around it, you're allowed to carry in the whole city. And as long as houses that have a fence around all the houses, you can carry in all the from into the house to the yard to the other house, no problem. You don't have to make any rules.
Yeah, the Yeruvim is from the Basin of Shlomo HaMelech.
Basin of Shlomo HaMelech, right. So he says Basin of Shlomo HaMelech. And then certain other things, there's machlokes, and the Rambam goes according to one thing, and whatever, and this is the halacha. But there's hardly ever that the Rambam, also by the Rebbe, that they actually say, this was a thing that Moshe was told in Piyat Gvura. When they say something like that, it means this halacha la Moshe Misinai,
Right.
and there's nothing you can say about it. There's no argument.
Right.
There's absolutely no arguments. This is one of the things that we know, halacha la Moshe Misinai. Finished. Like certain things, there's certain things that we know, like to light a fire on Shabbos. And there's the thing the Rambam says, this is halacha la Moshe Misinai. So
Right.
this is halacha la Moshe Misinai, the Rambam says, nobody disagrees with him. And all these other opinions that he brought, the guy twisted them. Now,
Right.
you see that when he twisted them, he actually thinks he's right.
Right, of course.
He's a rabbi. He thinks he's helping out here.
Right.
He's saving us from the Lubavitch Rebbe. They
Right.
think they're doing a good thing.
Sure.
They don't think it's a kfira.
Well, that's what it says. Is the first day after Rahara comes to you and says to do a mitzvah. They think it's a mitzvah.
They think it's a mitzvah, and that's what it says. Arami oived avi. The Arami messed up their brains.
Right.
They don't have a proper chokhmah anymore. They can't think straight anymore.
It's Armimus is what it is.
The Armimus. That's it. Chokhmah de klipa. So hu rak lerach. It's a chokhmah to do bad.
Right.
Their whole chokhmah now is only to do bad. And therefore, basically, it means that their whole thing is bad.
Right.
Like it says, even the other parts, the parts that don't look like heresy,
Right.
and look like, like there's all kinds of nice-looking sermons and all kinds of stuff like that. It says, no, chachamim hem al lahara, below the flow, and
Right.
anything.
Right.
Ve'eino inyan chokhmah be'etzem. Really, they're not chachamim. Why? Well, I mean, they have some kind of chokhmah. No, there's no chokhmah at all. It's armumis v'sheker. The whole thing is armumis v'sheker. Chokhmah means chokhmah z'emes. Chokhmah z'emes is this. This is the chokhmah z'emes.
Right.
If they don't hold from the chokhmah z'emes, their whole Yiddishkeit is armumis v'sheker, and what they want is your money.
Right.
Feyadua. Well, he says that is known. Who doesn't know this? וגם מבחינת תענוג האליה in Yara מבחינת החיצוניות, וזהו שורש להסתברות תענוג האילם הזה. The total chitzonius is the established of where the Tanug Olam Hazi comes from.
In other words, even Keter is affected to a degree.
Yeah, the Tanug Olam Hazi, like Las Vegas.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Las Vegas with Hollywood.
Right.
Tanug Olam Hazi, Disneyland.
Right.
Aval Ikar Hara Hu B'Midos.
Right.
But the main Ra is Davka in the Midos. Ash Nistafu Lemata, Lemata Mata, Beklipa Dasiya, Amikad Fugim Ara'im Lif Ol Ra B'Poel Mamit. The Kol Chayusam Eino Rak Lahamit. The whole Chayus is only to kill.
Right.
And this was up to now, Mamish, you could see it. Yimach Shemam from Germany.
Right.
Moshluchi Hamavis, Mamish.
Right.
Mamish Luchi Hamavis. But really, Amalek is Tetch and Chochmah Klipa.
Right.
The Shaar HaNun. You know, Haman, the Shaar HaNun of Klipa, yeah.
Right.
Lamata b'zeh ilam hem ha'mazikim k'nechoshim v'chayat shetorifim v'aroitzim b'mina adam. This is a total evil. Murderers. And by the way, this doesn't mean that they're not. They're killing people.
Right.
Like the Rebbe said, huh?
It's just a different type of murder.
It's a murder like the Greeks wanted to do.
Right.
That's what it says. The Rebbe says that that's, by the way, why Shaar HaYichud is Purim and Hanukkah. That to kill a person's soul is worse than to kill his body.
Right.
So even the animals, there won't be any bad animals, actually.
Right.
And there will be a birur all the way down to the physical.
Right.
And the basic thing is that actually the bilbul that they start over there, that's what goes farther and farther down till when it hits the streets, you get a murderer.
Right.
You know, because like everybody will tell you, say, where do you get the murderers from? You say, well, it's from they weren't educated properly.
Right.
Oh, the education is improper. The education was improper. And that's why he went and he became Fry. He's already a Hell's Angel.
Right.
And it starts off from the education. Hashem Safal Mata Mata. Where is it? Okay, right here. Keyadua. So that's basically the end of this. V'yesh pinatzir odem be'edzel u'mazeh deklipa chulu. V'nikra odem blia.
Blial.
Oh, blial, right, okay. So the lamed is missing. V'hu pinatzah deklipa. Wait a minute, I want to write it in here. Blial. V'hu pinatzah deklipa. More v'yavik ish. In other words, there's a whole partzuf.
Right, but it's an upside down part, so it goes down, not up.
Whatever, it's of course upside down. The whole thing is upside down. Their brain is not talking, no?
Yeah, the klipa,
Lial.
the
Lial means they're not going to go up, they're going to go down. They're going down.
Yeah, the 10 spirit of klipa are upside down.
Right, and you see that they're going to go down.
Right, it's a downward motion.
It's a downward motion, right. Which, in other words, he's fighting with Yaakov.
Right.
Shenikra oimek ra, shu oimek harotzen v'atainug l'kol dover ra. They're rotzen for all the bad things. So who mocker l'kol rotzen ra, the nikra bezoyar...
Well, you skipped the line.
Oh, sorry, right. V'hu p'chinat zod l'klipa, amido sh'amoichin da'avod l'klipa, ad p'chinat kesher v'atik yom l'klipa shnikra oimek ra, shu oimek harotzen v'atainug. In other words, that's what he's saying here. That Kesher and Atik is the oimek. That's the deepest part.
Right.
That means that's the lowest part.
Exactly.
Okay, but really it's not lowest, it's straight. Because oimek toiv is the same thing. The Kesher is in the oimek.
Right, but it's an oimek that's up.
Yeah, but in its own dimensions, it's in exactly the same position.
Yeah,
but it's it's like a mirror.
Right.
Everything in this is like the thing of this. What's here is exactly the same over there. The head is in the oimek by good, so the head is in the oimek by ra.
Exactly.
The head is in the oimek.
Exactly.
By good is also the head in the oimek. In oimek toiv, the head is in the oimek. The rotzen for everything good.
Right.
So, the fact it's not upside down, it works the same way.
It works the same way, but it goes down, not up.
Well, actually it goes up, not down.
Yeah.
It goes really, in its thing, it goes from Kesser to Malchus. The Malchus is higher up than the Kesser.
It's the reverse, that's all.
It's the reverse. That means that who is the worst people of all? Not the murderer in the street.
The philosophers. Right.
They're the oimek. The oimek is the Chochmah, the Kesher Chochmah Bina. They're the philosophy behind this whole thing.
Right.
So, it works the same way. It still goes from, even though, like you're saying, it goes like that, but it's really, it goes from, it starts in the moichin and it goes down to the midos. Except that he's upside down.
Right.
And of course, these people are upside down. Which is called Kisin de Masavusa, Beloshna Gemara, Shari Tuma. Kuma, B'derech Klal. Yes, Prinas Eses Spheres de Klipas Noga Babia. Prinas Noga da Tzilos Embo Ra Klal. Kmo Shnema Lo Yegur Chara Cholo. Rak Shu Prinas Hayesh Hamurga Shu Boilet B'Yeser. That he feels how great and good he is. Kmo B'chinas HaChesed Hamurgash Ba'adam Litvar Boy. Like somebody who's really a big gavir but is very proud of it. It's 100% good.
Right.
There's no bad in that.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
But he knows that he's a good guy.
But he knows he's a good guy. He's a real chochem, but he knows what a chochem he is.
Right.
He feels it's his own chochem, mamish.
Right.
וכך בכל מידויסוב מעלויסוב יודע מרגיש מבחינת בליטה גדולה בסייפוס בבחינת בליטה גדולה או בסייפוס יוצא מזה בחינת רע.
Right.
When it goes down into Biyah, it comes out of that a real ra.
Right.
כמו המרגיש עצמו לחסדן, יצא מזה הסתבכות חסד רק לישייהר, ורק לגרמי, כמו חסד ישמעאל. Like the Arabs. The Arabs are actually, they're very
and he'll do the chesed, but he'll do the chesed because he wants the honor.
He wants to be a big shot. And
Right.
if you don't acknowledge the chesed, he might kill you.
Right.
If you don't acknowledge what a great host he is, he'll get mad.
Yeah, which is the next thing he's going to say over here.
Ukai gavna, v'hu dimin l'Hishtalshelut noigad debriya shnistab men noigad atzilus shemiutara al kol ponim bepinas legarme v'yohara disnasus yesh hanifrat. Ukmo shemitlavus haboilet b'hargashes atzma betfila yikas al menagdol ha'kreisel l'reitzvek shenagea b'kvoidei.
Right.
And this is also like the people who get mad when the kids are making noise in school.
Right.
And they start shouting and get mad.
Right. It's
Want to throw the
disturbing
kids
their
up.
tefillah.
Yeah. And really, that is even, could be like that in Atzilus, mamish. Kach amru soten upnina l'shem shamayim nitzavnu. Because they'll pinas noiged Atzilus. Soten is saying here all the way up to noiged Atzilus. Noiged
Right.
Soten.
Right.
So even in Atzilus there is Soten. But not an ein of a Mittler Rishon v'echrivoi. And this
What's
is
the
the
opinion
thing.
with Nina?
Nina made, what's her name?
Hannah. She made her
mad
that she did it l'shem shamayim in order that she should pray
to have
to have
children.
a child, to have children.
Right. But still, she shouldn't have done it.
Right.
And this is like the thing of a noiga of Atzilus. The difference is between like the other one, Yikas alamanagdoi la kaisav alaroitzek shenagea bichvoidoi manish nagea in his COVID. And Satan of Atzilus is when he gets mad at the children. Because that's not his covet anymore. So it's L'Shem Shemaim. There's mamish people like that I know. And it's a holy thing, and they think it's a holy thing.
Right.
They'll bring you a halacha. There's halachas like that, mamish. They'll show you the halacha in the book that you're supposed to throw all the kids out of the schools. Well, מבחינת קינה של נחש הקדמוני, מבחינת יש, ולגמרי מבחינת רע, קצת. Yesh v'legarmi, yesh and for his own self, and a little bit of evil. Afal pisha kina zos ba minet mitzad hakarosa v'kiruboy. He understands how holy the shul is.
Right.
Kiklum mitkane, that somebody have a kina that they're making noise in the shul. If he doesn't know the holiness of the shul.
Right.
Oh. Okay, but Noiga, the Tira, Ketia Ra Lekatrik Mamish, Mobayavo Gamasotan.
That's what Iyov.
Yeah, Vayomer Achinam Yare Iyov. After all, he gave him so much money.
Right.
Ad Pinak Noiga Dasia Rubara Lipo Kol Din Kasha. Vezeu Chayusa Mamish. He actually loves to do din. Nikor Tu Abishala Al Kahulu. Haluka Shemotzet Pselis Adam. And again, you see that if you know how to use an haluka, it's medicinal.
Right.
Hulukach nema la haluka hulu hav. Gimme.
Right.
Zeu shevish hagehenam shal rosh Hashem yachol. Kedua v'gimel klipas atmeos em kmo nachar sarav v'akrav shebmidbar amim china as Chassidic klipa.
So what does he mean with Zeu Shor? What's he referring to? What's it Musavan? Zeu Shor Gehenam is referring to what?
To all of these.
To all of them, okay.
And the lower down, it's backwards, remember. So that the strongest one is not an Atzilus, it's backwards.
Right.
The strongest one is Dafka down here.
Right.
All the way to the Aluka. And then from there comes the Gimel Klipas Atmeyas. The Aluka is the lowest part of Klipas Noiga.
Right.
And now these last three lines is the next Hishtalshelut.
Right.
In other words, in Klipa, he just told you the first was
there's also Atzilus,
Klipas
Bria,
Noiga. Klipas Noiga is basically Atzilus.
Right.
And in Atzilus is also Abiyah, which he just told you was Abiyah of Klipas Noiga.
Right.
And then from there's also Gimel Klipas Atmeyas, which now the next three lines is three more Hishtalsheluses.
That's the Bria Yetzirah Asiyah of
right. There's
Klipa.
Nachash, Sarah, Ve'akrav. So Midbar Amim Pinas Kesed the Klipa Shehen Ra Gomor Blita Rovis Atoiv Klal Uklal. So what do you mean Kesed the Klipa? But Amim is Mamish Asiyah. They're right. It's upside down. Totally bad. In other words, their whole Tainug is only in Olam Hazeh and only in bad stuff.
Right.
So that's what they love, you know.
Right.
Vezeu Anikra means that's their life, Mamish.
Right.
Vezeu Anikra Rosha Viraloi, that Mamish, that's what they love, to go to war. Or you see, like what you said yesterday, that 9/11, what do they worry about the football?
Right.
She'ein lahem bira dayin klal, and for that, there's no bira for them at all. Rak la'atit. You see, ve'ezruach hatu ma'avir legamre chuyu v'kayadu v'day l'mevin, and this will happen in the future, meaning tomorrow.
Slik Shaar HaYichud, Hadron Alach Shaar HaYichud, Hadron Alach Shaar HaYichud, Hadron Alach Shaar HaYichud.
We had a minion, you could say, the special Kaddish, you know.
Yeah.
And that's basically now we did the whole Hishtalshelut.